What would be the qualities of a good teacher? Especially when it comes to the Brahmin culture, what Baba says. What is it that would make a person a good teacher, an ideal teacher? No need to share. It is just for us to reflect. And the second question after that is, how do myself as a child of Baba have adopted those qualities so that I become an ideal teacher for others? I will repeat. How will myself as a child of Baba will adopt those qualities of a teacher so that I become ideal for others? I become an instrument for others. So with this reflection, let us start the Murli. So today we will be reading a Murli in Hindi because we do not have English translation for this Murli. This Murli was basically the second Murli. There were two Murlis on 15th of October 1975. So the first one we have already read. The second one, since we don't have the English translation and we don't want to translate ourselves, just to be sure that we don't mess around with words, so we just prefer reading Hindi Murli. And I believe everybody would follow this, but still, if anybody is not able to follow a specific statement, you all can stop me. This is a very small Murli, so let us go a little slow because this is just a one-page Murli. But Baba has a lot to say for us to churn. Again, this Murli was specifically for the teacher group. So as we all know in our yagya, teacher is referred to as the ones who are surrendered sisters, staying at centers from whom we listen Murli at the centers. But the application of this Murli is not just restricted to them. Since that was the group in front of Baba, so Baba has elaborated their characteristics. So while reading or listening to this Murli, each of us should be reflecting ourselves as teachers because we are instrument of giving Baba's message not only to our friends but also to our relatives, to each and every person whom we meet. So all of the characteristics which Baba will mention in this Murli would also apply to each one of us. So let us start. 15th October 1975. टीचर बनना अर्थात सौभाग्य की लॉटरी लेना. पांडव शिव शक्ति सेना तथा टीचर्स प्रति अव्यक्त बाप दादा के अव्यक्त मधुर महावाक्य. आप हर कर्म करके दिखाने के निमित्त है. See, the opening statement itself Baba is mentioning karma करके दिखाने के निमित्त. So, teacher is not just teaching, but rather doing the activity ourselves and becoming an instrument. हर टीचर के पीछे देख कर चलने वाले, करने वाले, आगे बढ़ने वाले की कितनी बड़ी लाइन होती है. Three things. Behind each teacher, चलने वाले, people who follow, करने वाले who do, and who go ahead, that is आगे बढ़ने वालों की कितनी बड़ी लाइन होती है। तो टीचर सही लाइन पर चलाने की निमित्त है। This statement would also mean that if I go on a wrong route, people who follow me, who keep me in front, will also land up ending into a wrong route. So it's a responsibility of me to go into the right line, to the right route. वह रुकती है तो सारी लाइन रुक जाती है। तुम्हारी लाइन की जिम्मेवारी है। ऐसी जिम्मेवारी समझकर चले तो हर कर्म कैसा कैसा करेंगे। वैसे भी कहा जाता है जिम्मेवारी बड़े से बड़ा टीचर है। So another definition of teacher is Baba mentioning is जिम्मेवारी. So the more responsibility we have, or maybe we having any responsibility, that itself is a teacher. जैसे टीचर लाइफ बनाते हैं ना, वैसे जिम्मेवारी भी लाइफ बनाने की शिक्षा देती है। लेट्स रीड अगेन। जैसे टीचर लाइफ बनाते हैं ना, वैसे जिम्मेवारी भी लाइफ बनाने की शिक्षा देती है। तो हर टीचर के ऊपर इतनी विशाल जिम्मेवारी है, ऐसा समझने में से भी अपने ऊपर अटेंशन रहेगा। If you'll remember the blessings day before yesterday in Sakar Murli, Baba mentioned a very nice statement for attention, that being in attention should be a natural nature for Brahmins. So here Baba is mentioning to have the responsibility, even if we have that attention, we'll be able to fulfill these things. ऐसा समझने से भी अपने ऊपर अटेंशन रहेगा। अब अटेंशन रहेगा तो बाप और सेवा के सिवा और कुछ बुद्धि में रहेगा ही नहीं। इट्स ऑल अ गेम ऑफ अटेंशन। जिम्मेवारी बड़ापन लाती है। यदि जिम्मेवारी नहीं तो बचपन हो जाता है। जिम्मेवारी होने से अलबेलापन समाप्त हो जाता है। टीचर को हर संकल्प, हर कदम पीछे सोचना चाहिए कि मेरे पीछे कितनी जिम्मेवारी है। So Baba is again giving the characteristics of a responsible person. The first one he mentions is जिम्मेवारी बड़ापन लाती है। सेकेंड वन, यदि जिम्मेवारी नहीं तो बचपन हो जाता है। जिम्मेवारी होने से अलबेलापन समाप्त हो जाते हैं। एंड टीचर को हर संकल्प, हर कदम पीछे सोचना चाहिए कि मेरे पीछे कितनी जिम्मेवारी है। ऐसे भी नहीं कि यह जिम्मेवारी भारी करेंगी, बोझ रहेगा। नहीं, जितना यह जिम्मेवारी उठाएंगे उतना जो अनेकों की आशीर्वाद मिलती है, तो वह बोझ खुशी में बदल जाता है। So another aspect of Baba, whenever he identifies any importance of a specific value, he makes sure that we don't get frustrated, or we don't get too much overwhelmed of how would we do that specific thing. So Baba here is now striking out the balance of becoming light as well as becoming responsible. So he is mentioning that it is not that the responsibility will make you heavy. will make you burdensome. So ऐसे भी नहीं कि यह जिम्मेवारी भारी करेगी, बोझ रहेगा, नहीं, जितनी यह जिम्मेवारी उठाएंगे उतना जो अनेकों की आशीर्वाद मिलती है तो वह बोझ खुशी में बदल जाता है. So we can reflect, if we do anything with responsibility, forget about alokik, even in the lokik, if we bring happiness to others, that happiness or that blessings from others will transform that burden into happiness for us. And then that responsibility no longer is a burden for us. It is, a, a small story I recollect. The Murli small, that's why I'm going a little slow. A small, someone, while, again, this is a story. So, Swami Vivekananda was doing meditation on a hill, and a small girl was lifting her child and, going on top of the mountain. The child was actually very big and heavy, and the girl was very small. But since he was a younger brother and maybe not well, she was lifting him and going on top. And she was very happy. And apparently, Swami Vivekanand saw her and asked her the question that, are you not feeling this heavy? Him heavy? You're carrying him, and it's already a slope. And how can you become happy? And the little girl just responded that, Swamiji, he's my brother. It's my responsibility to carry him because he's not feeling well. How can he become a burden for me? And she left off. And that is where he realized that if we do anything with happiness, or if we do that with a responsibility, those things will no longer be a burden for us. So I just reflected that on that story. So I just thought to share. So Baba is mentioning, जिम्मेवारी उठाएंगे उतना जो अनेकों की आशीर्वाद मिलती है तो वह बोझ खुशी में बदल जाता है. वह बोझ महसूस नहीं होता, हल्के रहते हैं. जैसे ब्रह्मा बाप निमित्त बने वैसे आप सब निमित्त हैं. Again, for us, best example to reflect is Brahma Baba, having so much of responsibilities, but he was again an instrument. तो आप सबको ब्रह्मा बाबा को फॉलो करना चाहिए. जिम्मेवारी और हल्कापन दोनों का बैलेंस था. ऐसे ही follow father. So Baba in many Murlis reflects, asks us to do follow father. So if you are maintaining in what aspects we should be following father, this is one of the aspect which is striking out balance between lightness and responsibility. Teachers का slogan follow father. Follow father नहीं तो सफल teacher नहीं. Very simple for us to benchmark. Follow father नहीं तो teacher, सफल teacher नहीं. टीचर का पहला सर्टिफिकेट है स्वयं संतुष्ट रहना और दूसरों को संतुष्ट करना. फर्स्ट नंबर टीचर की निशानी संतुष्ट रहना और संतुष्ट करना. So it is not just that being a teacher I have to satisfy others, but also I have to satisfy myself, or I have to stay contented in myself along with doing for others. टीचर संतुष्ट क्यों नहीं रहेंगे? टीचर्स को चांस कितने हैं? So now I was counting on what are the chances for teacher. एक चांस समर्पण होने का, दूसरा सेवा का चांस. First one is surrendering, second one is of service, तीसरा, निमित्त बनने से अपने ऊपर अटेंशन का चांस, बिकॉज टीचर्स आर इंस्ट्रूमेंट. So by default, if I am an instrument for specific thing, I have to have special attention on myself. So again, that is a chance. If I'm not an instrument, if I'm just someone who is coming and going, then I will not have that chance of attention. And so Baba has even being an instrument is also a chance. Baba is mentioning here. चौथा, जिन्हों को आप समान बनाएंगे उसमें पुरुषार्थ की सफलता का चांस, सबसे ज्यादा पुरुषार्थ में नंबर 1 लेने का चांस. सो पुरुषार्थ की सफलता का चांस फॉर हूम, फॉर दोज हु वी आर मेकिंग लाइक अस, एंड सबसे ज्यादा पुरुषार्थ में नंबर लेने का चांस. Because again, since the teacher have direct access to most of the things, they can again go ahead in Purusharth and become number 1. आने वाले स्टूडेंट को तो हंस बगुला इकट्ठा रहना पड़ता है, टीचर्स को वातावरण का भी चांस अच्छा मिलता है. Since most of them stays at center, they have the chance of environment as well. तो टीचर बनना अर्थात लॉटरी लेना. टीचर्स का ड्रामा में बहुत अच्छा पार्ट है. टीचर्स को अपने भाग्य को देख खुश होना चाहिए. अपने प्रति की लिस्ट, अपने प्राप्ति की लिस्ट सामने रखो, तो क्या मिला है, कितना मिला है, वह देखते हो. So again, this is one very good practice which Baba is mentioning, which we should do it frequently. This helps us immediately connect with Baba, and that is प्राप्ति की लिस्ट सामने रखो. What are all our attainments? What have we got? How much did we get? Do we see that? अमृत वेले रो रिहान सब करती हूँ. जो रो रिहान करने से रस का अनुभव कर लेते हैं, वह सारे दिन में सफल रहेंगे. So another definition of success throughout the day, and that is enjoying the chit chat with Baba at the Amrit Vela. जो रो रियान करने का रस का अनुभव कर लेते हैं, वह सारे दिन में सफल रहेंगे. अलबेले तो नहीं रहते, सदा अपने ऊपर अटेंशन रहता है और रस भी आता है. एक है नियम निभाने वाले, दूसरे प्रति करने वाले. आप सब तो प्राप्ति करने वाली हो ना. So here the Murli ends. And इस मुरली का सार, फर्स्ट वन, जिम्मेवारी बड़े से बड़ा टीचर है. जैसे टीचर लाइफ बनाते हैं, वैसे जिम्मेवारी भी लाइफ बनाती है, बनाने की शिक्षा देती है. जिम्मेवारी बड़ापन लाती है और इसमें अलबेलापन समाप्त हो जाता है. सेकेंड वन इज टीचर्स का स्लोगन है फॉलो फादर. फॉलो फादर नहीं तो सफल टीचर नहीं. So let us pause and reflect on this Murli for a minute. Om Shanti. We can start sharing our understandings, our reflections on this Murli. So let me start maybe. So in the first paragraph itself, Baba says, "आप हर कर्म करके दिखाने के निमित्त हैं." So like I was just reflecting on the statement that whenever in office, I have to teach anything to my colleagues. So, and of course, that knowledge transfer happens, which we call as KT. And while teaching, we make sure that each and everything is being taught properly, and we do not hide anything. We give them the entire scenario of how this work has to be performed, what needs to be done, and while doing that, I have to myself perform those processes. It is not that just I tell, like we have to tell that person. We have to actually do those reports ourselves and tell them this is the way it needs to be done. And while we do ourselves, then only the person can learn. Likewise, even if we take in the context of maybe swimming, the trainer has to himself show with his own hands maybe how to swim, how to play the strokes. Just standing outside, he will not be able to train the participants. So likewise, it is in the spiritual context. And so I was just thinking that when Baba says आप हर कर्म करके दिखाने के निमित्त हो, so that is everywhere. And likewise, if we want others to change, for that matter, if we want to inculcate any divine values in others, first it is that I demonstrate that myself rather than telling anybody. For example, if somebody is not punctual, if some of my colleagues are not doing work on time or not coming to office regularly, first I have to become regular. If I myself not regular, I cannot tell others to be regular. No, small things. So this can be applied in different scenarios, different aspects of life. Because only if I am perfect or if I am following anything, will I be able to tell others to do. And for that matter, even I will not have to tell others to do, because seeing me, they themselves will follow. But if I don't follow and I give others an ideal scenario, probably people will tell that he is himself not following. How can we follow? Om Shanti.
Hello, Om Shanti. Thank you, Baba. Thank you, brother. Responsibility is the biggest teacher. So it's that I got the lesson from this. It's the biggest teacher and responsibility. When we take responsibility, and if we got this as the biggest, and we will learn from anything, and we can teach to other also. Om Shanti.
How is responsibility a biggest teacher? Can you give one example or elaborate here? Why did Baba tell responsibility and benchmark it to as a teacher?
Because it awareness increases our awareness, and yeah, due to that we can we can guide other also. If we suppose I'm responsible for some task and I complete that task on time, you know. So when I complete on time, to that If I have completed, so that gives me the courage, and I can then I can guide to others. So that way it's means there's a
Completing a task on time, how does it become a teacher?
no, no. Suppose I am teacher, and I'm not completing any task, whatever I'm teaching. Okay, means here yes, there is a teacher, there is a students with me, and I'm not doing that means task, and I am telling that you have to complete that task, you have to complete that task. So that I'm not I'm completing. So I can't be a good teacher at that time. But I take that responsibility. Suppose when I'm responsible, यानी कि when I have done that means as a responsibility, take the responsibility and complete the task, then I can be a biggest teacher. I can share that feeling also to them.
Okay, let me just elaborate on this more. Responsibility. So,
Yeah.
for example, if we are doing any, uh, if we are performing any task for that matter, if a person is not responsible for that task, hmm, if there is any problem coming there, hmm, the person will not really be interested to solve that problem. Hmm. Let us take example of a worker in a big factory. If there is some issue with the machine, and if the worker is not feeling responsibility, he will just tell his senior that this work machine is not working, I'm not able to perform, and that worker will chill out, or maybe he will not come to office or whatever it could be. But the manager of that factory, you know, who is responsible for that production, he cannot say that the machine is not working, that is why I will not be able to perform. What he will do is, in that specific problem, he will identify whom should I reach to fix this machine. He will probably contact the vendors of the machine. Okay, so why will he do that? Because he is responsible for the production of the factory. Now, calling the vendors of that machine, even the worker could have done, but he's not taking the responsibility, and that is why he is just a worker. But the day when the worker starts taking that responsibility, that let me call the vendor, and then he tells his supervisor, okay, this was not working, and that is why I have called this one so person, and the machine has fixed, and then I started working. That is the step up for that worker, and he will basically, since he demonstrated responsibility, he will probably, going ahead, he can become himself a manager. And that is why Baba has told here that taking responsibility is also equivalent to being a teacher, because those situations will teach us. वो परिस्थिति भी हमें सिखाएंगी, because things can happen at any moment. This is just an example which I shared, but there will be various different scenarios in our life where we will find some hurdles, where we will find some blockages. May that be emotional blockages, physical thing, even spiritual blockages might come. But if I am a responsibility, if I have taken the responsibility of world transformation, self transformation, those blockages I will identify to find solution. So rather than giving excuses that nahi Amritwala, I cannot wake up, I slept late at the night, or I'm not able to follow such and such dharana. If I start giving excuses, then I am not a responsible person. But if I am a responsible person, I will find solutions for those problems, for those excuses. And finding the solutions will teach me. And that experience, teaching, learning from experience will make me a big teacher. So thanks, brother, for sharing this point. I just added my reflections on that. Others can share too. Om Shanti.
Om
Om
Shanti.
Shanti, brother. Om
Yeah,
Shanti.
Given, please go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, when brother you were sharing about that Praful, when you were sharing about responsibility, I just remembered, in a game when we play volleyball or throw ball and all, when the ball comes from the other side and when it's coming towards me, I've seen a player saying, okay, I take it. And then when I say I take it, all other players from the other side, they move away. My focus is fully on that. And then I hit back the ball and it goes to the other side. So just see that word, I take it. I take it is, you can say, I like that. It's like I am responsible. So like so many things comes with it. I'm in control. Like we can say, I can write the story and I suppose that ball doesn't reach, I own it up. I'm the owner of the actions. I'm fully I take the burden of it as well as the blessing for it. I think that's what even, but when I do that, if I think I did it, like Baba mentions in many of the Murlis, don't say I alone am responsible. I did it. I got the points. Then that becomes weak. So when I said it's my shot, others all supported me and my energy supported me. So I was able to give a good return for that ball which came. So I think that's what is even responsibility and all. It puts you totally under control and you're sharing the burden also. Others, that particular point to hit and get a point, you get burden. And oh my God, will I do perfect? You're not perfect. And and we won't blame also because that shot was mine. So there are so many, what we say, vicissitudes of responsibility, if you say. And why Baba says it over here is because we are doing his job. We are going to reveal him. So it has to be done in a perfect way. So yes, like responsibility gives life, teacher and responsibility go together because teachers are the one who give that function.
Yeah, thanks, sister. Brother, you were sharing something? Yeah, go ahead, Omkar.
Yeah, but it's a good churning which is going on, especially on that responsibility wala part, and it's definitely true because teacher always feels responsible for the actions and the duty towards the entire team, how to elevate them. So I've just tried to uh, basically the words that teacher, how it's a multi-dimensional personality. The T stands for tapasya and tyag, uh, and also Trikaldarshi stage. He has a very clear vision and broad intellect and refined intellect, a clean and clear thinking, and thought level. He's very refined. And E is energy, enthusiasm, and elevated stage. Not only he is elevated stage for self, but also for others. Also, he's constantly endeavoring. And A is attention and awareness. Always, as Baba has awareness for the children, he always has that awareness. Who am I, and who is mine? And C is in connection with self and Baba, in control. And H is honest and holy. And then another E is expert. He's expert in his subjects. And R is responsible and real and royal. Om Shanti.
Yeah, thanks, Omkar. Nice acronym. So another thing, just taking ahead the point of responsibility, many times as a teacher or as an instrument, we have the responsibility, we are aware of that. But when things go wrong, when things really don't fall in place nicely, it could be any matter for that matter, then there is a human tendency that we identify to put that blame on others. Because of so and so student, this happened, or because of so and so situation, this happened. And putting blame on others or making others responsible is automatically getting out of our own responsibility shoes. And that is where we don't then grow in true sense. We don't learn in true sense. So again, when things go wrong, if the person is really responsible, he will reflect that, what could be done better to avoid such situation. It could happen that it could be because of someone else, but um, that was not really perceived earlier, that specific disturbance or that specific obstacle. So responsibility is, in itself a very larger term, and each one of us can look for ourselves which are the areas in our life where earlier where I mentioned that we blame sometimes that we are not able to do so and so push-up because of so and so challenges. But being a responsible person, rather than blaming others, rather than putting others into the shoes of critics, how can I work out? Because Brahma Baba had a lot of such situations. There were so many situations where he was forced to shut down Brahma Kumaris. But since he felt that he was a responsible person, and with responsibility, he had that vision, he had that courage. So with that responsibility, many other values also get developed, like vision, courage, and power to face, power to accommodate. There are so many powers which also get developed with the sense of responsibility, and this will automatically teach us. And that is why Baba also mentioned in this Murli, follow father. An ideal teacher would always follow father. Om Shanti.
Brother, you were talking about this blame game in responsibility. I think this blame game can be minimized if suppose we really accept, there should be acceptance and there should be empowerment. I've seen these in the sports games and all. Suppose there is a ball which is coming and I have to catch. You'll see all eyes are on that person who's going to take the catch. That itself is a blessing. That is, and the sound which you hear from the court, yes, you can do it, you can do it. So that itself is a blessing which leads to my fulfilling the responsibility. In case I'm not able to recognize that, yes, I can fail. But if again, as it was there, Baba, when he is given in the first paragraph, we are not just people who walk, who lead, but to also badane wale. That is the one who inspire. So if I am an audience to such person who is being responsible and couldn't succeed, I think taking empowerment from God through inspiration, one can empower. Responsibility is a teamwork. It's not just job of one's shoulders.
Anyone else would like to add something more before we close?
Responsibilities are not a board. It is not something which you're carrying as a headache to you. Responsibility makes you, one needs to have a complete balance between responsibility and being light. So instead of taking any tension of responsibility, just keeping that space with ease is also one important characteristics of someone who's taking responsibility, because whoever is then taking responsibility and moving towards a direction, if he himself is under tension, then others may not be able to follow him. So practically, if we look at it, any leader who takes responsibility needs to be at ease, stable in whatever situation comes in. And that's what Baba is mentioning in today's Murli as well, that there has to be complete balance between taking responsibility and at the same point of time being light. Because the moment you are light, it's easy to take cooperation from others also to fulfill that particular responsibility. Om Shanti.
Yes, Om Shanti. I would like to add one reflection here. That responsibility is like being an example. To elaborate this, I would like to mention about APJ Abdul Kalam, who was, when he was the project leader, project head, and of a particular project, where his boss Vikram Sarabhai, so APJ Abdul Kalam is this he failed in that project, and he was working tremendously and with a lot of efforts. They were doing it, but with little mistake, that project failed. So the Vikram Sarabhai called, when media asked these questions, why the project failed. So he faced the media and he said, it is my responsibility. It is I who actually failed, and it's my, and a few years later, when the project succeeded, then media again called, and then that is the time when Vikram Raj Sarabhai told APJ Abdul Kalam to go and face the media and share the victory with the country. So this is the thing. Here it's not about a luggage or something, boards which Vikram Sarabhai is carrying, but he's creating an example of, and he's sharing the how victory, he is not attached to the victory he is giving the credit to his team, but yes, when there is a defeat or when there is a loss or anything, there he is associating that it is my responsibility. So you can see the broad intellect, the dimension, the elevated stage of a teacher. Om Shanti.
Brother, could you
Yeah, I just
please
read your.
explain that last paragraph because it went a little past. You gave 4 qualities, something Samarpan, service. I've put in the chat box.
Yes, yes, yes.
And can you please explain that because how that will help in the spiritual teacher?
So those 4 words were specifically, I think, each group has a specific characteristics. Like if it's a Mata's group, if it is a Kumar's group, if it is a teacher's group. So Baba was mentioning that for the teachers, these 5 things are very easy. So why is that easy? एक chance समर्पण होने का. So in our yajna, it is very easy for teacher sisters to get surrendered. So they have that chance because once surrendered. This discussion is really on that physical level. It applies to each one of us. But since the group in front of Baba were teachers, so Baba was just highlighting their specialities, because Baba does that so that they feel special. Like for example, even if Maharashtra group sits, so Baba tells Mahan Atma. That doesn't really make the other states people not Mahan. Karnataka, Baba tells you do very nice Natak. That doesn't mean that Rajasthan people can't do that. So Baba is just highlighting the speciality. So we can take that in that spirit. So एक chance समर्पण होने का, because it's easy for a teacher to stay at center, being surrendered. दूसरा सेवा का chance. Okay. So whenever we go for any seva, teachers are generally at forefront. उनको chance मिलता है. May that be coming on the stage for to deliver a speech. May that be tying a rakhi. So lots of seva chance. And since they are free, teachers are surrendered, they have full time to do a lot of seva. तीसरा निमित्त बनने से अपने ऊपर attention का chance, because they are an instrument, because the person who is reading Murli or sitting on a sandal, automatically they have their attention on themselves. A person who is just coming as a student or maybe once in a while to center, he may not have that much attention. But since one is instrument, a lot of attention goes. And चौथा, जितनों को आप समान बनाएंगे उसमें पुरुषार्थ की सफलता का चांस. So again, many times आपके कितने students हैं? These people, sometimes people benchmark in teachers. So a center having huge number of students coming, that is what basically that is the result of the seva or the safalta that center sister has accomplished. So again, आप समान banana means I'm not really, Baba has not mentioned number of students in the center, that is just example I'm given. But जितनों को आप समान बनाएंगे, what does that mean is again, so making, approaching to so many of people, the more we make them ourselves, that is basically a safalta ka chance. And then Baba again mentions here, which I have not circled, सबसे ज्यादा पुरुषार्थ में नंबर लेने का चांस. So that I've already explained during reading that it's the teachers is very easy for them to because they have access to lots many things, easy access to dadis, didis, and whoever for that matter. So they can go ahead. And finally, Baba says Vatavaran ka chance, because at center there is no other impure soul staying. It is just the teacher. So Baba was just highlighting them that since you all have so many specialities, it is very easy for you to go ahead and what Baba refers to this as teacher banna arthat lottery lena. And lottery is the same shabda which Baba also used at the Murli title. Teacher banna arthat saubhagya ki lottery lena. So yeah, these words again, if we take these as application for ourselves, it will be in a very, it may be in a different form, because samarpan doesn't mean samarpan at a center. It is basically through intellect. So we can interpret it like that. Those who are not staying at center, seva ka chance of, obviously by meeting so many people, we also can take this chance. So all these are basically tools which Baba has given us at the moment, which he calls us as a lottery. Maybe at the time of destructions, some of these tools may not be applicable. Like we might not be able to do that seva which we can do now. We might not be doing those Sambandh Sampark wali seva which we can do right now. So yeah, it is open to interpretation. We can interpret it in different ways, but this was specifically for teachers group. Om Shanti. So let us reflect for a moment and go to the Vatan, the subtle regions, in front of our Brahma Baba. And we tell to Baba that, Baba, that in each aspect, may that be father, may that be teacher, may that be any relationship, we can inculcate the values which you have demonstrated. And that is why even I myself take this affirmation of Master Brahma, as you had this feeling that you would become the next Sri Krishna, and hence you had this great responsibility of first transforming the self. Likewise, I, Master Brahma, has this great responsibility of transforming myself and becoming a showpiece for others to see how would a God child be like. And I know that with this responsibility, I will be able to teach whoever comes my way. I will be able to give your message your knowledge. I, as an instrument, is just a pass-through to reveal you, Divine Father. We take blessings from Baba and come back at the center of forehead. Om Shanti. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.